Okay, so we're doing some conversions to finish off this chapter. Now firstly, a litre. A litre is actually a cube which is 10 centimetres along each edge. Okay, so that's 1 litre there. Now, if we were to take a centre cube, so a cube which is 1 centimetre along each edge, not only is that a cubic centimetre, but it's also 1 millilitre or 1,000th of a litre. So importantly, there's 1,000 millilitres in a litre. So 1,000 millilitres is the same as 1 litre. Now the other thing, if we've got a cubic metre, it's a bit hard to draw it on this page there, but let's say we've got a cubic metre here. So that's 1 metre along each edge. That's also equal to 1,000 litres or 1 kilolitre. So when we talk about 1 kilolitre, again, there's 1,000 litres in a kilolitre. So, you've got to multiply or divide by 1,000 as you change between those two. Same thing as you convert between cubic centimetres and, millilitres and litres. You times or divide by 1,000 as well. Okay, so that's all good. Let's have a look at this one here. So if we've got to convert 6 litres into millilitres, so if we've got 6 litres, each one of those is 1,000 millilitres. So if we've got 6 of them, we've got 6,000 millilitres. Okay, a bit of a trick. See, as you go from a litre, which is, let's do this by hand. So there's a litre. We're going to a millilitre, so the unit is getting smaller. That means the number has to get bigger. And that's why we've multiplied by 1,000. So go through that again. If the unit gets smaller, so there's a litre, there's a millilitre. So if the unit gets smaller, the number has to go the other way and get bigger. So we've multiplied by 1,000. Here we're going from millilitres to litres. So the unit is getting bigger, so the number has to get smaller. We go 2,500, we divide by 1,000 to get 2.5 litres. Okay, again, 9.4 kilolitres, so kilolitres are like a cubic metre. We're getting down to a litre, so the unit's getting smaller, so the number has to get bigger. We times that by 1,000 to get 9,400. And now we're going litres to kilolitres, so the unit's getting bigger. The number has to get smaller. So 700 divided by 1,000 gives us 0.7. Sorry, I should have written the units after those ones. Okay, example 2. Find in litres the capacity of a container that's in the shape of a rectangular prism and has dimensions 60 by 70 by 20. Okay, look, I'll show you a basic, and a way that's easy to understand. There is a shortcut there, but I won't show you now at the moment. So what we're going to do is multiply those numbers together. So the volume is equal to 600 times 70 times 20. And if we do that, we're going to get an answer of 84,000. Now that's in cubic centimetres, which is the same as millilitres. Okay, now again, if we want to convert from millilitres to litres, we're going from millilitres to litres, so the unit's getting bigger, so the number has to get smaller. We divide that by 1,000 to get 84 litres. Okay, calculate in kilolitres the capacity of a swimming pool that has a length of 25 metres, width of 10 and a depth of 2. Now the great thing is kilolitres and cubic metres are the same thing. So when we multiply these dimensions together, okay, we're going to get an answer of 500. Not only is that cubic metres, but it's also kilolitres. So we've actually got our answer in one hit. Okay, we're converting 3 litres into millilitres. So litres to millilitres, the unit's getting smaller, so the number has to get bigger. We're going to times by 1,000 to get 3,000 millilitres. This time we're going millilitres to litres, so if the unit's getting bigger, the number has to get smaller. We divide by 1,000 to get 2 litres. This time we're going kilolitres to litres, so the unit gets smaller, so the number has to get bigger. We times by 1,000 to get 7,000 litres. And if you think about it, kilo actually means 1,000, so literally this means 7 lots of 1,000 litres or 7,000 litres. Here we're going litres to kilolitres, so the unit's getting bigger. the number has to get smaller, so we divide by 1,000. Here we're going litres to millilitres. The unit gets smaller, so the number gets bigger. Times that by 1,000. Millilitres to litres, the unit gets bigger, the number gets smaller, so we divide by 1,000. We're going litres to kilolitres, the unit gets bigger, so the number gets smaller, so we divide by 1,000. Going kilolitres to litres, the unit gets smaller, so the number gets bigger, so we multiply by 1,000. Litres to millilitres, so the number has to get bigger, times by 1,000. Kilolitres to litres, so the number has to get bigger, so again times by 1,000. Millilitres to litres, so the number has to get smaller, so divide by 1,000. Litres to kilolitres, so the number has to get smaller, so divide by 1,000. Okay, so we need to work out which is the most appropriate unit to measure each of these things in here. So remember, a millilitre is like a cubic centimetre. So 1 millilitre equals 1 cubic centimetre. A litre is like a cube of side 10 centimetres. A kilolitre is of a cube of side length 1 metre. So a juice, I'll just measure that in millilitres there, okay? If you drink a litre of juice, good luck to you. A washing machine, you're going to measure how much would fit inside that in litres. If you've got a dam, again, you're going to be measuring it in cubic metres or kilolitres. A fish tank, again, you're going to be measuring it in centimetres. So look, I'd say that litres is your best answer there. A swimming pool, again, look, you could measure it in litres, but probably kilolitres is the best, but litres is okay. A teacup, you're going to be measuring that in millilitres. Kitchen sink, look, probably in litres there. Again, a teaspoon, again, also in millilitres. And look, a large pond, it depends on how large it is. So look, you could either have litres or kilolitres, depending on how big it is. How many 200 ml glasses can be filled from a 3 litre container of orange juices? So this is 3,000 millilitres. So we just go 3,000 divided by 200, and that'll give us 15 glasses. How many 250 ml cups of cola can be poured from a 1.25 litre bottle? So again, that's 1,250 millilitres divided by 250 to get 5 cups there. Okay, now we said that a cubic centimetre and a millilitre are the same thing, so this question is so easy because the number of millilitres and cubic centimetres are exactly the same. So how easy is that? Just copy down the numbers. All done. Okay, we said a litre was 1,000 millilitres. It's also 1,000 cubic centimetres. So again, if we're going litres to cubic centimetres, the unit's getting smaller, so we need to times by 1,000 to make the number bigger. Again, cubic centimetres to litres, the unit's getting bigger, so the number gets smaller, so we divide by 1,000. We're going from litres to cubic centimetres, the unit gets smaller, so the number gets bigger, we multiply by 1,000. Cubic centimetres to litres, so the unit gets bigger, number has to get smaller, so we divide by 1,000. Okay. Again, remembering that a cubic metre and a kilolitre are the same thing, again, converting between the two, we just leave the number the same. It's as simple as that. Okay, again, we said that a cubic metre was 1,000 litres, so if we want to convert a cubic metre into litres, well, it's just 1,000 litres. Convert litres to cubic metres, again, we're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, so the number has to get smaller, so we divide by 1,000. Going cubic metres to litres, so the unit gets smaller, so the number has to get bigger, multiply that by 1,000. We're going litres to cubic metres, so if the unit gets bigger, number has to get smaller, so we divide by 1,000. Okay, what we're doing here is we're using our volume formula from earlier in the unit. what we're going to do is work out the capacity by firstly working out the volume, which is the area times, so the cross-sectional area times the depth. So that's going to give us an answer in cubic centimetres, which is also going to be an answer in millilitres. So if we multiply them together, so we're going to get 2,000. So it's in cubic centimetres, which is the same as millilitres. We want an answer in litres, so we divide by 1,000 to get 2 litres. Again, start by multiplying those two together. Again, we're going to get an answer in millilitres, effectively. So 5,400. Again, divide by 1,000 to turn that into litres. Same thing here. So we get 5,120 millilitres, which is 5.12 litres. And that's the end of the topic. We'll be starting a new topic on Monday.